This is going to be the beginning of seeding for 2021. Right now, we're just going to calibrate the drills. It is super cold today, or at least I think so. It was actually quite cold yesterday. We've been having some unpredictable weather in Montana. A couple of days ago, it would snow, kind of like that wet snow, and then it'd melt off, and then it'd snow again. And it's been doing that for a couple of days, and just today it was hailing, and then now it's stopped hailing. It's just really, really weird weather in Montana. And if you've ever heard the saying, weather can change in a second in Montana, it definitely can, and that's so true. So this is my Uncle Chris, and he knows a lot about the calibration of the drill, so he's going to be explaining it and teaching you a little bit about that in today's video.
You go up into the cab and instruct the computer how many pounds you want to put an acre, and then you come down here and set a bag underneath it. It turns that wheel so many revolutions, and then you weigh it, and then it calculates that per weight, and you set it in the computer, and it sort of sets the acreage itself. I always do it twice on thing, and then once I get going in the field, I'll do it again just to see if it gets more accurate.
That's great, thank you. Here with Darcy, what is the part you're doing right now?
Well, we're going to calibrate this to see. The machine sets automatically once we find the weights of the bags, but we got to run a sample into the bag. But to start with, we're going to have to make sure the roller's all.
See, that's inoculant.
Oh, really?
It has little bugs, so the roots take nitrogen out of the air and put little nodules in the ground.
Oh, awesome.
Inoculants, that's what that, it has little microbes that attach to the roots and grow on the roots, and they'll take nitrogen out of the air and put it on the roots.
So what will end up going in this bag?
Yeah, see this way, I don't know how much we put in. The computer decides how many times it wants it to turn. So we'll hold this button up, and that roller will go until it stops. And when it stops, then we weigh the bag, and it goes up there and it tells how many times it turned, and then you punch the weight in and it'll give you the magic number of what you want to do.
Awesome. These are lentils, but as my Uncle Chris said, there is seed treat on them, and that's what makes them red.
They're normally green. These are green lentils.
Yes, very delicious in soup.
Put how many pounds you want seeded in the drill. And then you said take calibration, and then you push this button, and it turns that, I think, enough revolutions for a half a bushel. I mean half an acre, I believe. But it's a certain amount of time, and what we do, then we weigh it, and we go back and tell the computer and the tractor how much went out and how many revolutions, and then it sets itself, sort of. I usually do this twice here while we're stopped, and then once we get going and everything settles down and bounce, I'll stop and we'll do it one more time, especially on the stuff like this, because it only goes on 2 pounds on a whole acre.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's less than a, sack of flour, 5 pounds, It said it went 50 revolutions. It turned 50 times, and it put out 18.15 stuff. And then I go...
Is that exactly how you want it to be?
Well, I don't know that. It sort of does that. See, and then I take this number 18.15, accept, and I go one more, and it gives me a calibration number.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm going to write that down. And I'm going to do it again to see how close we come.
How did you used to do this in the olden days?
We used to put a bag underneath it and go so far and then weigh the bag.
That is cool. Yeah. So this must make it a lot easier.
Yeah, it's easier, but I'm never quite sure if it's
accurate.
Accurate. Well, it should be more accurate than whatever I'm doing. So they say to do about 3 of them, then average it, is what they say to do.
That's a good idea. Do you do this process one time before seeding begins?
Every time we change crops or change varieties of seed, we do it, because every variety or thing would have a different weight.
Oh yeah, every crop and every variety of the crop. Okay. Oh wow, you even use different types of rollers per crop. And what is this field going to be?
This is going to be lentils.
Lentils.
Green lentils.
Did you do lentils last year?
I did lentils last year for the first time ever. I had beginner's luck. I had a pretty good yield. So I don't know if that's true or not. But
Well, that's really good then. And would lentils be considered a pulse crop?
it is a pulse crop. And that's why it fixes nitrogen. And that's what helps fix that nitrogen is what we have in the bag, that inoculant.
And then when you go back to wheat, you should have a better crop on the
A better
wheat.
crop, and because you have a rotation, you have less weed problems and less disease problems. Because,
That's really good. So it's very technical.
well, not really, but it's
A little bit.
a little bit technical. The other one was 0.647 and this one's 0.4828.
So my Uncle Chris went back to the cab to set it to do a third one to make sure we have the most accurate setting. My Uncle Chris has done a lot of different experiments with different crops. What was one of your favorites you've done?
Well, I like Indian rice grass because it's really pretty. It has a big, grows up and has a really pretty bloom. It wasn't a success as a crop, but it was sure pretty. And I've done flax. That's really pretty because it blooms and it has a flax blue.
That's awesome.
And I've done canola, and I like it. I like the crops that bloom.
Well, that's the best part.
Yeah, canola, and I've done corn just for fun, which isn't common in Montana, but we did a little bit of dryland corn.
And it's because we don't get as much moisture.
Yeah, we don't get as much moisture, and our growing season is pretty short.
Well, that's awesome. How is the lentil soup from the lentils last year?
Delicious, of course.
Well, that's amazing. That's the best part.
50
revolutions.
So
That's
good.
awesome.
That's awesome. Right, 'cause it doesn't always do that. 4828, it gave us the same numbers. So even the computer's right. I have to run a little bit on the ground first, so the rollers are full.
Oh.
The rollers aren't full yet, so I have to run it a little bit. Lentils weigh 60 pounds a bushel, and we're shooting for about 65 pounds an acre for seeding.
Lentils take different harvesting equipment, right? Like flex headers.
Yeah, these lentils only grow about 4 or 5 inches tall, so you have to be able to get right on the ground to get them. They have headers that float on the ground and actually sort of bend in the middle a little bit, sort of with the contour with the ground, but they're amazing things to watch. So
Yes.
they cut lower than your lawn mower cuts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, then that's pretty low. So setting the drills would be one of the most important parts for preparing for seeding.
Absolutely, yeah. Getting the application right. Seeding is really important because you
don't have a crop if you don't
Yeah,
put
you
it in
don't
the
have a
ground
crop.
correctly.
Absolutely. And it's all really expensive to do too. So
So there's not a lot of room for error.
I think this costs well over $100 an acre to seed.
There's a lot of overhead in farming. You take the roller on the field after you seed it because it's lentils.
Yeah, because you have to use the flex header and the header has to be right on the ground all the time. Take that roller and you roll the rocks in the ground so they don't interfere with the combine.
Which is not something you do with wheat.
Not normally.
As you can see, it's folded up 3 times, so when we're about to seed it, it will all fold down. The sky looks really cool today.
Because lentils are a pulse crop, you use very little nitrogen fertilizer. You just put a little bit of fertilizer through to give it a little bit of boost at first, but normally you don't put hardly any fertilizer on lentils or pulse crops in general. So
That's very interesting. I didn't know that.
I'm putting about 20 pounds of starter fertilizer on.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Camera, so when you're going down the road, you can see if someone's behind you.
That is really good.
Because you can't see behind the implement.
No, and that must be very helpful.
Yeah, it is really helpful. You can get off the road for people when they're behind you, and also you see sort of what the job you're doing behind you sometimes, because that part blocks a big part of the drill. And we call this a drill, not a planter or a seeder. We do here. I don't know what they do other places.
And we call what we're doing seeding rather than planting, which is more common in the Midwest.
Yes. When you plant corn and soybeans, they use different equipment. Although they do use air drills for air planters and things. The reason we don't grow a lot of those other crops, it takes a different type of equipment, a lot of it. So we don't aren't equipped to grow corn very much. When I grew corn, my neighbor did all the planting and seeding and harvesting. So it wasn't very profitable, it was just fun.
Yes.
Set it in there one time instead of bracketing it down, and we were just going to go turn it around the other direction or something, and
Oh no.
it fell off, smashed on the tire, and it's bouncing on the ground.
That is not good at all.
No.
This is the containers from the top, or the tanks, and the views are great. Mountains are over there. Now these are called the wings right here, and they fold down, and then those pointy things go into the ground. Here my dad's come with the sprayer. Now they're checking to see if the boots are clear and just basically inspecting the machine to make sure everything will go well. So you're basically doing an inspection of the drill?
Yeah, to see if all the boots are clear. Sometimes they get clogged up and you don't notice until you check to see if all the stuff is clear. We have to wait until the sprayer gets ahead of it.
So these are what the lentils look like?
Yeah, this is before we treated it.
Very cool. That's awesome. What different varieties of lentils are there?
Oh, there's a whole bunch. There's different colors. There's green lentils, red lentils, yellow lentils, black lentils.
How do you choose?
Well, I don't know that. Some people choose, but some grow better some other places. These are easier to grow, I think. They're a little bit bigger. There's some smaller. These are green, richly lentils. There's layered lentils, and there's a whole bunch of varieties, but I'm not real familiar with them because I haven't raised them very long.
Are you starting to see more lentils in this area?
Yeah, quite a few. The price of wheat is down, so people are trying to find other commodities and rotations that will, pick up the pace.
So this is malt barley.
This is malt. That's a deer feeder. That feeds the deer.
Here my grandpa came in the field.
Hello to the video camera.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of chilly out there though.
Yes, it is very cold. What was seeding like in the olden days compared to now?
Well, we didn't have no cap. We had smaller drills. We had 12 feet, 24 feet drill.
24 feet drill. Wow, 12-foot drills, that's a lot smaller than they are today.
That's 60 feet.
60 feet, wow.
I got it too easy today.
We couldn't start seeding today because there's a couple problems with the drill, and because it's a Friday, nothing's open on the weekend, so we'll have to wait till Monday. But thank you so much for watching. Okay, bye.
Bye.
There all the antelope are. We always have antelope around here.